Hare Krishna. Today we're going to discuss about dyslexia. Dyslexia is basically a problem where the child poses difficulty in reading, writing, and speaking skills. The child poses problem in reading comprehension, written expression, writing, handwriting, and speaking. It's very easy as far as where the diagnosis comes. It's very easy to diagnose a visually impaired person. It's very easy to diagnose a person who is having impairment in the auditory dimension, who faces difficulty in hearing. It's also very easy to diagnose a person who's physically disabled. But as where it comes in diagnosing a dyslexic child, that's not that easy, because a dyslexic child appears like any other normal child. So teacher has to be very observant. So how do we diagnose this dyslexic child? When the parents usually place the child in a school, and when the teacher is giving instructions and the child is unable to catch or pick up, and it should be understood when the child is unable to follow the instructions, and the child is found lagging in these areas which I mentioned: reading, writing, speaking. It's to be understood that somewhere the problem is there, and we have to find out where the problem is there. So minimum age of this diagnosing of this dyslexic child is 8 years. And first the teacher has to fill a screening tool. It may be online, it may be offline, on grounds of the observation the teacher has made in a child, irrespective of whether the teacher has any knowledge of dyslexia or not. When the teacher fills the screening tool online, the symptoms she has noticed in the child, which are enlisted in the screening tool, she has to tick on those symptoms. And then when it can be done online via Android app, offline it can be done on paper and pen. And once the online screening tool is filled in by the teacher and submitted, it goes to the special educator. Now the role of the special educator comes. The special educator, on grounds of the observation which the teacher has observed in the child, the special educator has to observe the child for the very same observations. And if the special educator finds in her observations that yes, the observations of the teacher are correct, then it's understood, this is the initial step, that yes, the child is dyslexic. But even after that, we cannot, on the grounds of the screening test, we cannot label a child as dyslexic. This is just one of the initiating step to diagnose. After this, the report goes to a very panel of doctors, authoritative figures. Now these panel of doctors, these authoritative figures, they're basically responsible for organizing the assessment camps. And out there, when the report goes to them, when they organize the assessment camps, they again try to find out that is the child really dyslexic. And once it is claimed even by them, then a certificate is provided to the child. And then on grounds of that, we have to the school we have to work on the interventions of the child, providing interventions to the child. Now, before providing interventions to the child, we should know that what is intervention, what is not intervention, and what is the difference between intervention and curriculum. Now, intervention is basically very much skill focused. We know that in dyslexia, children are facing difficulty in reading, writing, and speaking skills. So it is in intervention, the focus is in these three areas: reading comprehension, writing expression, and speaking. Pronunciation and focus is here. But where curriculum comes, curriculum is the prescribed syllabus and subjects that have to be covered by a student in order to move to the next class. That is curriculum. So if in the curriculum of a school these interventions are also included, then both children, whether dyslexic or non-dyslexic, all of them can benefit. Now after discussing this, after once we come to know that yes, the child is dyslexic, we have to after despite providing intervention, we also have to provide accommodation. Now what is this accommodation? Accommodation is like we are not focusing on the deficits in the child, rather we are bypassing the deficits. We are focusing on changing the environment, we are focusing on changing our behavior, and we are focusing on changing our attitude. Like we develop a accepting attitude towards the child, we develop a accepting behavior and accommodating behavior towards the child, so that the child in the class does not feel singled out, and the child feels a part of belongingness to the class. The child does not feel different in the class. So that is accommodation. Once the child is accommodated in the class, once the focus is on the accommodations and the interventions, the socio-emotional development of the child is very good, and the child can function like a normal individual. So with this, I end my today's session, and we will discuss a bit more about it, dyslexia, in the upcoming videos. Thank you. Hare Krishna.